The check trembled in my hands as I stared at the numbers. $38,000. Every penny I'd saved over the past 5 years, earmarked for my final attempt at IVF, my last chance at becoming a mother. My name is Roslyn, and I was about to make the biggest mistake of my life. Honey, we wouldn't ask if it wasn't an emergency, Mom said, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. She'd shown up at my apartment an hour ago with Dad in tow, both of them looking desperate. The bank's giving us 3 days. 3 days before they take our home. I looked at Dad, slumped in my IKEA armchair, his face grey with what I thought was shame. Why didn't you tell me sooner? How much do you owe? It just happened so fast, he mumbled, not meeting my eyes. The payments kept piling up, and with the interest rates... 35,000, Mom cut in. Plus fees. We've tried everything, called everyone. You're our last hope, Roslyn. My stomach churned. The childhood home where I'd spent 25 years of my life, where I'd learned to ride a bike, had my first kiss, cried through 3 miscarriages. The thought of strangers living there made me sick. I have savings, I said slowly, but it's for... The baby thing? Mom's voice softened dangerously. Sweetheart, you're 37. Maybe it's time to accept that some things aren't meant to be. The familiar sting of her words made my eyes water. Regina, Dad warned, but she pressed on. I'm just being realistic. What's more important? A maybe baby or keeping your family home? Where will we live? Where will you come for holidays? I stood up, walking to my bedroom without a word. The lockbox was under my bed, containing everything I had. The inheritance from Grandma, every bonus check, 5 years of overtime shifts at the hospital. My phone buzzed. A text from Deborah. Everything okay? You missed coffee. I ignored it, returning to the living room with the check already filled out. Mom's eyes lit up in a way that should have warned me. You're saving us, she whispered, pulling me into a perfumed embrace. My good, sweet girl. Dad stood awkwardly. We'll pay you back, Roz. Every cent. When? I asked, still holding the check. Soon, Mom said quickly. Very soon. We have some investments that just need time to mature. I nodded, numb. I need you to sign something. For my records. Mom's smile flickered. Oh, honey, we're family. We don't need... Please, I said firmly. It's a lot of money. I grabbed a notepad, writing out a simple IOU with the date and amount. They both signed, Mom's signature flowing and elaborate, Dad's a shaky scrawl. We'll go straight to the bank, Mom said, tucking both papers into her designer purse, the one I'd questioned last Christmas when she claimed they were struggling. You've saved our home, darling. You've saved us. After they left, I sat in silence for a long time. My phone kept buzzing. Deborah again. Called the clinic. They said you cancelled next week's appointment. What's going on? I finally replied. Had to help my parents. Emergency with the house. Her response was immediate. Oh, honey, no. Call me. I didn't. Instead, I walked to my spare room, the one I dreamed would be a nursery. The walls were still white, waiting for purpose. I'd bought a small stuffed giraffe months ago, my first purchase for the baby I hoped to have. It sat on the windowsill, watching me with blank button eyes. Family comes first, I whispered to the empty room. Right? My phone rang again. This time it was Mom. Darling, the bank needs it in certified funds. Could you call them and arrange a wire transfer instead? It'll be faster. Sure, I said, my voice hollow. I'll do it now. You're an angel, she gushed. We're taking you to dinner next week to celebrate somewhere fancy. After hanging up, I called my bank and arranged the transfer. With each number I typed, I felt my dream slipping away. But family was family. They'd raised me, supported me through the miscarriages, even if Mom said I was obsessing, given me a home when Camden left. I owed them this. The transfer confirmed with a cheerful ding. I deleted the fertility clinic from my contacts and unfollowed the IVF support groups on Facebook. Time to be realistic, like Mom said. That night, I dreamed of a little girl with my eyes, fading away like smoke. I woke up crying, but told myself it was for the best. I had no idea that in exactly 7 days, I'd discovered just how wrong I was. I was eating lunch at my desk when the Facebook notification popped up. Regina tagged you in a post. My sandwich stopped halfway to my mouth as I clicked the link. The photo loaded, and my world imploded. There they were, my parents, grinning on the deck of a luxury cruise ship. Mom in a flowing designer caftan, Dad in crisp linen, both holding champagne flutes against a backdrop of pristine ocean. The caption read, "Living our best life. Mediterranean cruise, first stop Monaco. Blessed-cruise life. Living the dream." Posted 3 hours ago, 6 days after they'd sat in my apartment crying about losing their house. "No," I whispered, dropping my sandwich. "No, no, no." My hands shaking, I scrolled through Mom's profile. More photos appeared. Them boarding the ship 4 days ago. A video of their gorgeous suite with private balcony. Mom getting a massage at the ship's spa. Dad at a wine tasting. The cost of their suite alone, clearly visible in one boasting photo, was $22,000. My IVF money. My baby money. They'd used it for a luxury vacation. "Roslyn?" Tyrell from the next cubicle leaned over. "You okay? You look like you're about to pass out." I couldn't speak, just turned my monitor so he could see. "Aren't those your parents? The ones who needed—" His voice trailed off as he read the dates. Oh shit. My phone was in my hand before I knew what I was doing. Mom's number rang 4 times before going to voicemail. I tried Dad. Straight to voicemail. A text popped up from Mom. "Can't talk now, darling. In the middle of a lovely excursion in Monte Carlo." I typed back with trembling fingers. "You told me you needed the money for the house." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Don't be dramatic, sweetheart. We did need it. We needed this break. Your father's been so stressed. The house is fine. We worked something out. You always overthink everything." The rage that swept through me was unlike anything I'd ever felt. I called again. This time she answered. "Roslyn, really, this isn't a good time. You lied to me." My voice cracked. "You sat in my apartment and cried about losing the house. You took my IVF money for a cruise." "Lower your voice," she hissed. "We deserve this happiness. Do you know how hard it's been watching you throw money away on this baby obsession? We did you a favor." "A favor?" I was screaming now. Tyrell touched my shoulder, but I shrugged him off. "You stole from me. That was my money. We're your parents," she said coldly. "Everything you have is because of us. Now, I need to go. We have dinner reservations at—" I hung up, opened my laptop. With shaking hands, I searched the county property records. No foreclosure notice, no bank proceedings, nothing. They'd planned this. They'd planned all of it. My phone buzzed. Deborah. "Why is your mom posting cruise photos? Wasn't that money for—" They lied. I cut in, my voice dead. About everything. The house was never in danger. They just wanted a vacation. Silence. Then, get your coat. Meet me at my office in 20 minutes. What? I'm calling in sick to the firm. This is fraud, Roz. Straight up criminal fraud. We're going to need that IOU they signed. Any texts, emails, everything. They're my parents, I whispered. They're criminals who stole your future. Deborah snapped. And I'm not letting them get away with it. 20 minutes. Bring everything. I looked at my computer screen. Mom had posted another photo. Her and Dad in designer clothes at a French restaurant. Plates of food that cost more than I made in a day. The caption, living like royalty. We deserve this. Blessed. Something cold and hard crystallized in my chest. Tyrell, I said quietly, can you tell management I'm taking the rest of the day? Family emergency. He squeezed my shoulder. Take tomorrow, too. And Roz? Make them pay. I gathered my things, downloaded every photo, every message, screenshotted the property records showing no foreclosure threat. As I walked to my car, another text from Mom. Don't be selfish, darling. Parents sacrifice everything for their children. It's time you gave something back. I stared at those words until they burned into my brain. Then I typed back. You're right, Mom. Parents do sacrifice everything for their children. Remember that when you get home. I turned my phone off and drove to Deborah's office, my mind already spinning with possibilities. They thought they'd gotten away with it. They had no idea what was coming. Holy shit, Deborah whispered, spreading the papers across her desk. This goes way deeper than the cruise money. I'd spent the morning digging through old boxes in my storage unit, finding financial documents I'd forgotten existed. Credit card statements, loan applications, tax forms, each one a new betrayal. Look at this, she said, holding up a credit card statement from 10 years ago. They opened this card in your name when you were 27, used it to remodel their kitchen. I never knew about that card, because they forged your signature. Deborah grabbed a highlighter. And here, they took out a personal loan using your information as a co-signer in 2019. Did you know about that? My head spun. No. That was during my second miscarriage. I was barely functioning. They knew exactly when to do it. She started making piles. Identity theft, fraud, financial abuse. Roz, this is criminal. My phone buzzed. A text from my sister Willow. Mom says you're threatening to sue them. What's wrong with you? I showed Deborah the message. She snorted. Call her. Put it on speaker. Willow answered on the first ring. Have you lost your mind? Did you know about the cruise? I asked. Of course I knew. They deserved a vacation after everything they've done for us. Everything they've done? My laugh sounded hysterical. Willow, they stole my IVF money. They lied about losing the house. Oh, please, she scoffed. Like that IVF was going to work anyway. You need to let that go. Deborah's eyes widened in outrage, but I pressed on. What about your college fund? Remember how it mysteriously disappeared? Silence. They told you the market crashed, I continued, but I found the withdrawal slips. They took it for their 20th anniversary trip to Hawaii. That's different, Willow stammered. They needed... Check your credit report, I cut in. Right now, while I'm on the phone. I heard keyboard clicking, more silence, then a sharp intake of breath. There must be some mistake. I never took out a boat loan. No, I said quietly. Mom and Dad did, using your information. just like they did to me. The line went dead. Deborah was already typing. We need to move fast. They'll be back from their cruise in 3 days. I'm filing for an emergency injunction to freeze their assets. My phone buzzed again. An email this time, from a name I hadn't seen in 2 years. Camden? I breathed. Your ex? Deborah looked up. The one who bailed during your IVF treatments? I opened the email. Roz, I saw your mum's cruise photos and remembered how you talked about saving for IVF. I'm so sorry. This isn't right. If you need someone to corroborate their history of financial manipulation, I have emails from when they tried to get me to invest in their timeshare scheme. Call me if you need them. Cam. Delete it, Deborah said firmly. He doesn't get to play hero now. She was right. I deleted the email, but something else caught my eye. A Facebook message from Dad's sister, my Aunt Sarah. Finally, someone's standing up to them. They pulled the same house scam on me last year. Said they needed $20,000 or they'd lose everything. I gave them my retirement money. 2 weeks later, they bought a new car. My hands started shaking. How many others? Let's find out. Deborah cracked her knuckles. Start calling relatives. I'll draft the legal notice. And Roz? We should look into their insurance claims, too. People who commit fraud rarely stop at one type. I nodded, pulling up my contacts, but before I could start calling, another text came through. From Mom. Just had the most divine caviar tasting. Darling, when we get back, we simply must discuss your attitude. This vindictive behavior isn't attractive. No wonder you can't keep a man. Speaking of which, we used just a tiny bit more of the money than planned, but you'll understand when you see our photos. The cruise photographer is simply magnificent. Deborah read over my shoulder. Please tell me you're saving all of these. Every single one. Good. She handed me a legal pad. Start writing down everything you remember. Every lie, every manipulation, every guilt trip. We're not just going to get your money back. She smiled grimly. We're going to make sure everyone knows exactly who they are. I started writing, years of suppressed memories flooding back. The missed rent when they borrowed my paycheck. The maxed-out credit cards I didn't know existed. The college fund that vanished. They're not going to stop, I realized. Even after this cruise, they'll never stop. No, Deborah agreed. Not unless someone makes them. I gripped my pen tighter and kept writing. The time for being a good daughter was over. Now it was time for justice. The legal notice landed the day my parents returned from their cruise. I knew the exact moment they received it because my phone exploded. 17 missed calls, 28 text messages, 3 voicemails. You ungrateful little... Mom's first voicemail cut off mid-screech. Second voicemail. We raised you better than this, after everything we've done. Third voicemail. Dad, this time. Princess, please, we can talk about this. Your mother's having chest pains. They're going with the health card already, Deborah said when I played them for her. That's faster than I expected. My phone rang again. Mom. Answer it, Deborah instructed, hitting record on her desk device. Let her talk. I took a deep breath and pressed accept. Hello? How dare you? Mom's voice could have shattered glass. We're your parents. You can't sue your own parents. You stole from me. We borrowed money. That's what family does. You lied about the house being in foreclosure, I said, keeping my voice steady like Deborah had coached. You used my IVF money for a luxury cruise, because you were never going to use it anyway. Mom snapped. You think we don't know about your last 3 failed attempts? You're wasting your life on this baby obsession when you should be. So, you admit you knew exactly what the money was for? Silence. Then, don't you dare try your legal tricks on me, young lady. I'm your mother. A mother who committed fraud. We signed your little IOU, didn't we? If we needed a vacation more than you needed another disappointment, that's our business. Deborah's eyes lit up. She scribbled frantically. Keep her talking about the money. You spent $40,000 on a cruise, I said. The house was never in danger, was it? Of course it wasn't. We've lived here 30 years. Did you really think the bank would foreclose over a few late payments? Honestly, Roslyn, you're so naive. Deborah gave me a thumbs up. And the credit cards you opened in my name? I pressed. The loans? Oh, stop being dramatic. Every parent does that. How else are we supposed to maintain our lifestyle? Besides, your credit score recovered eventually. I felt sick. You know that's illegal, right? Please, Mom scoffed. We're family. The law doesn't apply to family. Now, I'm going to give you one chance to drop this ridiculous lawsuit before... A call beeped through. The cruise line's legal department. I have to go, I said. Don't you dare hang up on... I switched lines. Hello? Ms. Elliott, this is Marcus from Royal Ocean's legal team. We understand there's a situation with your parents' recent voyage. 2 hours later, I had copies of every receipt, every charge, every excursion they'd booked. Total damage, $42,147. They upgraded everything, Marcus explained. Specialty restaurants, premium drinks package, private tours. Said it was their last hurrah, whatever that means. After hanging up, I checked my email. 3 new messages. From Dad. Please call us. We can explain everything. From Willow. My credit score is ruined. What else haven't they told me? From the cruise line's fraud department. We're launching an internal investigation regarding possible insurance fraud related to your parents' claims of lost jewelry during their voyage. Bingo, Deborah said, reading over my shoulder. Want to bet that lost jewelry shows up on your mom's Facebook soon? My phone buzzed again. A text from Mom. If you don't drop this now, we're telling everyone about your mental breakdown after the miscarriage. How you almost got committed. Think about your reputation, darling. I showed Deborah. That's it, she said, grabbing her phone. We're not playing nice anymore. I'm calling in a favor at the DA's office, Financial Crimes Division. They're really going to do this, I whispered. They're going to try to destroy me to save themselves. Let them try. Deborah started dialing. We have evidence. They have threats and guilt trips. Game over. Another text from Mom. Final warning. Drop the lawsuit or everyone finds out what really happened with Camden. Your choice. I stared at the threat. Something cold and hard settling in my chest. They thought they could shame me into silence. Again. But I wasn't that scared little girl anymore. I typed back. Go ahead. Tell everyone. I'll be busy showing the DA your confession about the credit card fraud. Mom's response was immediate. You wouldn't dare. We're family. I looked at Deborah, who was already talking to someone at the DA's office, at the stack of evidence on her desk, at the cruise photos still flooding my Facebook feed. Watch me, I texted back and turned off my phone. The war had officially begun. Are you sure about this? Deborah asked, watching me type. Once you post it, there's no going back. I nodded, fingers hovering over the keyboard. After 3 days of threats and manipulation attempts, It was time. I'd spent hours crafting the Reddit post, making sure every detail was accurate, every claim backed by evidence. Title: My parents stole my IVF savings for a luxury cruise, then bragged about it on social media. I attached the screenshots, Mom's cruise photos, the fake foreclosure story, the recorded admission about never using it anyway, the credit card statements. Everything. Post it, I said, and clicked submit. Within an hour, it hit the front page. Holy shit, Tyrell said, staring at his phone during lunch break. You're trending. There's already thousands of comments. My inbox was flooding. People sharing similar stories, offering legal advice, some even wanting to donate to my IVF fund. Then came the message I'd been waiting for. Hi, I'm a reporter with the Daily Post. Would you be willing to discuss your story on record? Mom's first inkling something was wrong came from her bridge club. Regina, is that your cruise on Reddit? The one about the stolen IVF money? I knew because she called, screaming. Take it down! People are commenting on my Facebook. My friends are asking questions. Are they? I kept my voice calm. Maybe you can explain to them why you needed that emergency vacation so badly. You vindictive little... She choked. Your father can't sleep. Is that what you wanted? I wanted a baby. Oh, for God's sake, you're 37! If you haven't managed to keep a man by now... Check Reddit again. I cut in. I just uploaded the recording of you admitting to credit card fraud. She hung up. Minutes later, Willow called. Mom's hysterical. Dad's talking about moving to Florida. What did you do? Truth hurts, doesn't it? They're our parents, Roz. Check your credit report lately. Silence. Then, the boat loan wasn't the only thing, was it? No, it wasn't. More silence. I have to go. My credit monitoring app just sent an alert. The reporter called that afternoon. We met at a coffee shop where I laid out everything. The fraud, the manipulation, the years of financial abuse. And you have documentation for all of this? She asked. I handed her a folder. Every screenshot, every recording, every fraudulent account. Including the insurance claims? I smiled. Especially those. The story broke the next morning. Social media parents accused of systematic fraud splashed across local news sites. Mom's cruise photos featured prominently, now with very different captions. My phone rang. Camden. Don't answer it, Deborah warned. I did anyway. What? I saw the article, he said, and the Reddit post. Jesus, Roz, I had no idea how bad it was. Really? Because you knew enough to leave when things got tough? I was wrong, he said quietly. I should have stayed, helped you fight them. Yes, you should have. Maybe we could. Goodbye, Camden. I hung up as another email arrived. From the cruise line's fraud department. After reviewing your evidence, we're pressing charges regarding the false insurance claims. Your parents claimed $18,000 in lost jewelry that was later photographed being worn at dinner. I forwarded it to Deborah, who texted back, Perfect. DA's office wants to meet tomorrow. My Reddit inbox kept growing. Thousands of comments, hundreds of messages, people sharing their own stories of parental financial abuse. Then came Mom's final attempt at damage control. A Facebook post to address the vicious rumors. Yes, we took a cruise. Yes, we used money our daughter offered us. She's twisting a beautiful family moment into something ugly because she's bitter about her personal problems. Please respect our privacy during this difficult time. The comments were brutal. We all saw you admit to fraud on Reddit. What about the credit card theft? Return her IVF money. Worst parents ever. One by one, her friends began unfriending her. The bridge club cancelled her membership. Dad's golf buddies stopped returning calls. Their carefully curated social world was crumbling. Your mother's in bed with migraines. Dad texted. Are you happy now? I stared at his message, thinking of all the times I'd been in bed, crying over lost babies and stolen dreams, all the times they'd taken and taken and taken. No, I replied, but I'm free. Then I opened my email to find another message from the reporter. Follow-up story tomorrow. Found 3 more families they scammed with the same foreclosure story. Want to comment? I smiled and started typing. The truth was just getting started. The process server caught them during their weekly dinner party. I wasn't there, but their neighbour, Mrs. Peterson, recorded the whole thing on her phone and sent it to me. Regina and Michael. The server's voice was clear in the video. You've been served. Mom's face went from polite confusion to horror as she read the documents. Her wine glass slipped from her hand, shattering on their precious hardwood floors. What's happening? One of their dinner guests asked. Nothing. Mom tried to shove the papers into her pocket, but Dad was already reading his copy out loud. Civil suit, financial fraud, criminal charges pending. His voice cracked. Insurance fraud? The video ended with their guests awkwardly gathering their coats. It's beautiful, Deborah said, watching it for the 3rd time. But that's not even the best part. Show her, Tyrell. Tyrell, who'd become our unofficial social media monitor, pulled up a document on his laptop. Your parents took out a second mortgage on the house 3 years ago. Never told anyone. What? They've been living on borrowed money for years, he explained. The cruise was just the tip of the iceberg. They're underwater on everything. My phone buzzed. A text from Willow. Did you know about the second mortgage? They used my name as a co-signer. I never signed anything. And there it is, Deborah said. The final nail. I had to see it for myself. I drove to my childhood home for the first time in months, parking across the street. The perfectly manicured lawn seemed smaller. The impressive facade felt like a movie set. All show, no substance. Mom spotted me through the window. She rushed out, still wearing her dinner party dress. You've ruined us, she shrieked. Are you happy? Everyone's cancelled our dinner invitations. The country club is reviewing our membership. Where's Dad? Hiding in his study, looking at retirement homes in Florida. We can't show our faces here anymore. How many people's money did you take? She straightened, trying to gather her dignity. We borrowed from people who could afford it. Like Aunt Sarah? Her retirement savings? She offered. After you told her you were losing the house? I stepped closer. The house you'd already mortgaged under Willow's name. Something flickered in her eyes. You don't understand, she whispered. We had to maintain appearances. Your father's golf membership, my charity committees. We couldn't let people know we were struggling. So you stole from your own children. We gave you everything. She was crying now, but I'd learned those tears were as fake as everything else. The best schools, the nicest clothes. On credit cards you opened in my name. You ungrateful little... She stopped, noticing Mrs. Peterson watching from next door. Come inside. We can discuss this privately. No. I looked up at my old bedroom window. I had my 3rd miscarriage in that room. Remember? You told me to get over it and asked to borrow money for your spa weekend. That's not fair. I was trying to help you move on. By stealing my chance to try again? Dad appeared in the doorway, looking ancient. Princess, please. We can fix this. How? The money's gone. The cruise, the shopping, the fancy dinners. I gestured at Mom's designer dress. You spent it all. We'll pay you back, he stammered. Somehow. With what? The house you don't own? The retirement account you emptied? Mom's face turned ugly. You think you're so clever. Wait until people hear about your mental problems, your failed relationships, how you drove Camden away with your baby obsession. Go ahead, I said quietly. Tell them. Show everyone exactly who you are. My phone buzzed, the reporter again. Insurance fraud investigation expanding. Multiple claims over past decade. Comment? I showed Mom the message. All the color drained from her face. You can't, she whispered. I already did. I turned to leave, then stopped. Oh, and Mom, those jewelry pieces you reported stolen on the cruise, the ones you're wearing right now, the insurance investigators would like them back. She clutched her necklace, the one she'd claimed was lost at sea. But they were gifts. From money you stole. I got in my car. The DA will be in touch. As I drove away, I watched in my rearview mirror as their perfect facade crumbled. Mom sank to her knees on the front lawn, not caring who saw. Dad stood in the doorway, lost and small. My phone buzzed one last time, a message from Deborah. DA wants to meet tomorrow. They found something big. You ready? I thought of the little girl I'd been, always trying to please them, always believing their lies, always giving more. Ready. I texted back. It was time to take everything back. The small claims courtroom was packed. My Reddit post had gone viral enough that local news showed up, but the judge banned cameras. Mom and Dad sat on the opposite side, looking deflated in off-the-rack clothes, a far cry from their cruise photos. All rise, the bailiff called. Judge Martinez took one look at the file and sighed. Quite a story we have here. Mom's new lawyer, a tired-looking man with a crooked tie, stood up. Your Honor, this is a simple family dispute that's been blown out of proportion. $42,000 is not a simple dispute. The judge cut in. Neither is identity theft, insurance fraud, or filing false police reports. She looked at my parents. Would you like to explain why you claimed jewelry as stolen that you were photographed wearing 2 days later? Mom burst into tears. Your Honor, we've been humiliated enough. Our daughter has turned the whole community against us with her internet lies. Screenshots aren't lies, I said quietly. The judge held up the IOU. You admitted in writing this money was for preventing a foreclosure. Bank records show no foreclosure proceedings existed. Instead, you spent it on a luxury cruise. Correct? Dad stood up. Your Honor, we meant to pay it back. With what funds, sir? Your accounts are empty. You have 2 mortgages, one apparently obtained through identity theft, using your other daughter's information. The DA's office is very interested in that, by the way. Mom's lawyer tried again. We're prepared to offer a payment plan. They can't pay, Deborah interrupted. They've already filed for bankruptcy to avoid their other debts. That's why we're requesting a lien on their future income and assets. The judge nodded. Given the overwhelming evidence of fraud, I'm granting the plaintiff's request for full repayment, plus damages. Total judgment, $58,000. We don't have it! Mom shrieked. She's destroying our lives over a stupid cruise. No, the judge said sharply. You destroyed your lives through systematic fraud. This judgment will follow you until it's paid. Every tax return, Every paycheck, every asset will be subject to garnishment. She turned to me. Ms. Elliot, the criminal proceedings will be handled separately. Do you wish to make a statement? I stood up, my hands shaking. They told me the money was for saving their home. I gave them everything I had. Money I'd saved for IVF, for a chance at having a child. They knew exactly what they were taking. They just didn't care. That's not true. Mom stood up. We were trying to help her. She's obsessed with having a baby. She needed an intervention. The judge's eyes narrowed. By stealing her money for a cruise? We deserved that cruise. After everything we've done for her. Mrs. Elliot, the judge cut in. I suggest you stop talking before you incriminate yourself further. This court finds in favor of the plaintiff. You have 30 days to appeal, though given the evidence I wouldn't bother. As we left the courtroom, Mom grabbed my arm. You're barren because you're bitter, she hissed. No child deserves you as a mother. I pulled away, her words hitting like physical blows, but before I could respond, another voice cut in. Let her go, Regina. Willow stood in the hallway, holding a stack of papers. Honey! Mom's face lit up. You came to support us. No. Willow's voice was ice. I came to give you these. She handed them the papers. My lawyer found 6 different accounts you opened in my name. I'm pressing charges too. Mom staggered back. You can't. We're your parents. Not anymore. As they watched their golden child walk away, something finally broke in them. Dad aged 10 years in 10 seconds. Mom's carefully maintained facade cracked completely. We did everything for you girls, she whispered. No, I said. You did everything for yourselves. Outside the courthouse, a small crowd had gathered. My Reddit post had resonated with too many people who'd experienced similar abuse. They held signs. Pay it back! And justice for stolen dreams. My phone buzzed. A message from a woman named Sarah. Your story inspired me to check my aging parents' accounts. Found out they've been stealing from my college fund for my kids. Thank you for being brave enough to fight back. Then another message, this one from an anonymous donor. I read your story. My wife and I struggled with IVF too. We'd like to help. Check your PayPal. I looked at the notification. $25,000 had been transferred to my account. Oh my God, I whispered. Deborah squeezed my shoulder. See? Sometimes karma works in reverse. I stared at the amount, tears blurring my vision. It wasn't everything I'd lost, but it was hope. A new start. What now? Deborah asked. I watched my parents shuffle to their old car, broken but still not sorry, still not understanding what they'd done wrong. Now, I said, I build something better, something true. The future I deserved was waiting, and this time no one could steal it. The key clicked in my new apartment's lock. My apartment, my space, my rules. Last box, Tyrell announced, setting it down in the kitchen. Though I still think you should have kept the giraffe. New start, I said, but pulled the stuffed animal from my purse anyway. Okay. Maybe just this one thing. My phone buzzed. A text from Willow. They're really gone. Moved to Florida this morning. Dad left his golf clubs behind. I set the giraffe on my windowsill and typed back. You okay? Getting there. Hey, got my first therapy appointment tomorrow. Thanks for the recommendation. Deborah arrived with takeout and a bottle of wine. Housewarming time. Also, you might want to check your email. The DA sent something interesting. I pulled up my inbox. The subject line read, Urgent. Insurance fraud investigation. Multiple counts. They found 7 different false claims, Deborah explained, pouring wine. Jewelry, electronics, even a fake flood. Your parents are looking at serious charges. Good. The word came out harder than I expected. My phone lit up. Camden. Still? Deborah rolled her eyes. It's been weeks. I declined the call and checked his voicemail. Roz, please. I know I messed up leaving during the IVF, but seeing how strong you've been, fighting your parents, I miss you. I miss us. Delete. You know what I don't miss, I said, grabbing a slice of pizza, feeling like I owe everyone everything. The donor money sat untouched in my account. After the court case went viral, more people had contributed. The total now stood at $41,000, almost exactly what my parents had stolen. Have you decided? Tyrell asked quietly. About the IVF? I touched my giraffe. I made an appointment. Next week. Just to talk options. Whatever you decide, Deborah said. It'll be your choice. No one else's. My laptop pinged. A new comment on my Reddit update. Your story helped me stand up to my financially abusive parents. First time in 40 years. Thank you. Then another. Just checked my credit report like you suggested. Found out my mom opened 3 cards in my name. Filing charges tomorrow. And another. Currently in court with my parents over stolen inheritance. Your posts gave me strength. The doorbell rang. A delivery man held out a package. Special delivery for Roslyn? Inside was a small box and a note. From one IVF warrior to another. Never give up. Sarah. The box contained a delicate silver necklace with a small star pendant. My phone buzzed again. Mom's number. Don't, Deborah warned. I answered on speaker. What? The DA called. Her voice was small, defeated. They're pressing charges, multiple felonies. Your father might go to jail. That's what happens when you commit fraud. We are your parents. You can stop this. Just tell them you don't want to press charges. Like you stopped when I begged you not to take my IVF money? Silence. Goodbye, Mom. I hung up and blocked the number. You okay? Tyrell asked. I looked around my new apartment. No fancy furniture, no designer labels, no lies. Just space to breathe, to heal, to grow. I have something for you, Deborah said, pulling out an envelope. Your sister found it in their house before they left. Inside was a photo. Me at 6 years old, holding a baby doll, beaming at the camera. Pure joy before they taught me that love came with price tags and conditions. You know what I see? Deborah pointed at little me. That maternal instinct was always there, and no one can steal that from you. My phone lit up with a text from the fertility clinic. Confirming your consultation next Tuesday at 2 p.m. We look forward to discussing your options. I picked up my giraffe, running my fingers over its soft ears. They took everything I had, I said quietly. My savings, my trust, my sense of family. And look what you built instead. Tyrell gestured around. Real friends, real support, real strength. A real future, Deborah added. I placed the giraffe in my new bedroom, right where I could see it from my bed. Maybe someday it would belong to my child. Maybe it wouldn't. But, for the first time, that decision felt like mine alone. My phone buzzed one last time. A final email from Dad. We're sorry. Not for what we did, but for getting caught. I guess that's the problem. We'll never understand what we did wrong, but you turned out right despite us, not because of us. Goodbye, Princess. I deleted it without responding. Some relationships aren't meant to be fixed. Some breaks are permanent. And sometimes That's exactly as it should be. I had built something better, not for them, for me. And that was everything.